Hey everyone, we're here with Eren and Vidi from Seventh Station. If you don't know them, you should check them out. They've got a new EP that's getting ready to come out. 5 songs that you're not fucking ready for, but you should be because it's fucking fantastic. I'm gonna start off by saying um, I love that it is all over the place with styles of music. Like it takes you through um so many fucking journeys. Like to me, I'm a big Frank Zappa fan, and it like if Frank Zappa played metal, this is what I think it would, sound like,
Wow.
right? Like it's fucking amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you,
Wow.
man. What a compliment. Thank you so much.
That's
What was the writing process like for you guys going into this? Because if I'm not mistaken, you've got what, 2 full lengths, you got a bunch of singles, and then of course the EP that forgive me, I don't remember exactly when it comes out. I feel like it comes out the beginning of February.
I think it's February, the 22nd of February.
Okay.
It-
Hmm.
Aaron, I think you should take this question.
Sure, I'll take it. So, our last full album release was Heal the Unhealed, and we were exploring a lot of different ideas and stories and whatnot, but there's one particular track in that record called The Ruthless Koba, and this was a part of a trilogy if you go back to the Heal the Unhealed concept, but this one is a arrangement we made of Shostakovich's symphony's second movement, the 10th symphony. And we felt it was right because it was in the context of this Soviet era that we were being the narrators of and the storytellers of. And following up with that, we had a lot of fun doing that. And before we entered into a new domain of stories and whatnot, Vidi had this amazing idea, and he said, "You know what? Why don't we take that idea and make an EP of it so that we can pay our respects to our heritage and roots from coming from classical music and whatnot. I mean, contemporary classical, of course, but also to just build on the sound palette and the story palette that we try to experiment with that track. And then what came out, as you know, is completely all over the place in terms of colors, spectrum, and whatnot. The writing process actually was not a really writing process because the music was written before. So these tracks are from contemporary classical composers. We have Shostakovich again, of course. We have Villa-Lobos, we have Schnittke, we have Vaughan Williams. I'm missing one. Who am I
Kupetsky.
missing really? Kopetsky, the percussion guy, yes. So the music in terms of the blueprints was ready as of a notation thing. But how we executed that, of course, was our writing process in terms of arrangement and finding sounds. And we took it from a perspective of if all these composers were able to sit down in front of the mixing board today with all the sounds, all the synths, guitars, drums, you name it, like if their instrument of choice was not an acoustic orchestra, but if they could possibly do everything they had on their palette in terms of sound colors, what would that be like? And that's how it came to be, actually. And especially from the vocal world and the synth world, we did a lot of crazy stuff, which is very interesting to us.
Yeah.
And we didn't really approach this as like, let's make another progressive metal record. It was more like, let's just take this to the place we think or we feel where it could have been if they lived in 2025. And that's basically how it came to be.
That's like what a cool fucking concept, to like pay homage to essentially, these amazing composers,
Hmm.
which I don't think a lot of people really touch on anymore.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? All these, especially the contemporary classical world, is actually prog. There's a lot of prog in there.
Yep,
Just like we have a lot of influence from them in the prog metal world, we can actually, I look at it as like, it's like unplugged prog. Okay, it's not like a regular song form, like a chorus, verse, whatnot.
sure,
But in terms of the feeling idea, the coloring and the contrast, there's a lot of prog in there. And I think a lot of people who are not exposed to this part of the music world would find a lot of interesting ideas that these guys were prog in a very different universe, but they were doing their own prog. And what's nice about this EP is that we are trying not also to introduce ourselves, but hey, we've been listening and studying this music for our entire lives. You may not have heard any of these composers, but you should definitely check it out.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
That I think that's the cool thing about having these conversations is like for me, it turns me on to a lot of other artists that I wouldn't necessarily go and seek out and go, oh, I'm gonna go listen to this, but what a again, what a cool fucking concept. And I'll say it 100 times today for sure. The EP from start to finish is like it's such a fantastic like piece of work. You guys are you're so tight and on it through the entire recording uh, that I'm fucking astounded with it. Like
thank you.
it's just beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So when with that concept, rolling through that concept, of course, not necessarily writing, but when you guys went into record, did you feel like added pressure doing the recording to make sure that you were extra tight, or was it just super relaxed, like we got this?
I think it was a little bit of both. When it came to the execution was something we all worked really, really, really hard at home to make it happen. Uh, all of us are from different countries, so we don't have the availability of a rehearsing room all together. So it means extra pressure, extra responsibility for each of us to bring the best out of it without having the other band members next to us to give the feedback immediately. We have Dima Alperovic, he's our guitar player, and he traveled around. He came from Slovenia, both to Turkey, to Ankara, and both to Haifa in Israel to be like another ear to art direct the entire thing, but we could not rehearse together. So it was only at the day of the recording that we've met in person. So a lot of responsibility. There was some stress in it. It was also really important for us to finish it pretty fast. We felt like this is an idea we have to execute as fast as possible, just to keep everything fresh.
Yeah.
Again, because we're not, it's a long distance relationship, this band. So because of it, once we start an idea, we have to finish it really, really quick before everybody else has to go back to their other projects and other parts of
Lives and
life.
whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of creativity, before we went into the rehearsing, like personal rehearsings and the recording, the creativity part was very chill because we allowed ourselves to be as impulsive as we wanted, and the entire ambience in the room, in the virtual room where we meet, was of a yes and. How can we make it more crazy? I have this idea. Okay, what happens if I add this thing? And it was always about trying to be as authentic as possible when it comes to our intuitions. So if that sounds like a funny idea, even if it's a funny idea, it will make someone smile while we are recording this. Okay, let's add this small phrase of 8-bit. Eren is doing crazy stuff with 8-bit music over there in his synths. Um, we were just trying to have fun with it. And after we were done with the creative part, then we were like, oh no, we have to play it as well. So
Oh
so
shit.
oh shit. So that was the
Yeah.
stressful part, but eventually I think we made it more relaxed than the last record. The last record was like really intense. This one was a smoother ride, I'd say.
Yeah, I went back and I listened to the 2016 release. Of course, I listened to the 22 release, and I feel like as a whole, like you can see your guys' growth as musicians with each release, which is I think from a fan's perspective is you know, I always want to see the musicians that I'm a fan of grow, and I want to be able to recognize that on album. Like try new things. There's new concepts, new phrasings, right? New nuances in the songwriting process, and to see that is it's fucking amazing. Like that's one of my favorite phrases. I think fucking amazing.
Fucking
But
amazing.
yeah. But to see you guys and to know you're all in different countries and trying to do this collectively is impressive, right? So like where we are today with technology and the ability to have these long distance marriages and not just a verse chorus verse like songwriting process. It's uh it's really awesome to see because back like I mentioned earlier I'm old, so I remember the days where it was like you would call someone on the phone and mail them a tape,
Whoa.
right?
Okay.
And they
Yeah.
Beginning
Yeah.
90s,
yeah,
80s as
Yeah. Yeah.
well.
yeah,
80s
so
as well. Yeah.
you didn't really get into like email and file sharing until God, like barely late 90s, but it really you were early 2000s before that really became a solid thing, so it's cool from an outsider's perspective to see you guys doing that now. So where's everyone like stationed at, or where's everyone's home bases now?
Where are we based? Dima, our guitar player and the main mastermind of the band, is originally from Belarus. Then he moved to Israel. This is how me and Dima met. And then he got married and moved to Slovenia. So he's there. Um, yeah, all over the place. Aaron is in Ankara right now after many, many years of being in Boston, right? Living in Boston.
Yeah. Yeah. In United States. Yeah. In 10 years of living in US. Yeah.
Myself is in Israel, and our bass player is originally from the Ukraine. His name is Alexei Polyansky. He's originally from the Ukraine, now residing in Jerusalem, Israel. And our drummer, Grega Plumberger, is from Slovenia as well.
Okay, man, that's like that. It's cool to see like people from different areas and like the music they come together and create because sometimes it can be just real good straight like three chord punk rock, and other times you have these beautiful arrangements, like you guys have, and I like I'm so impressed with how the EP starts, with 3 days in Dresden, and you get to Melodia Sentimental, which it is, I'm gonna say gorgeous, and that does not do it justice. Like it
Thank
is
you.
such a beautiful piece of work. And to end, with Nagasaki Kisses, which is like I I just you guys literally touch on everything through there, and to know that you you don't have the ability to get together and practice collectively prior to going in the studio, and to hear that finished product, man, good on you guys, because that is I think that's what every musician strives for, to put together these compositions that are tight, and they don't sound they sound fresh. You know what I mean? Like everything sounds fresh and tight, and it has it has a breath of life to it through everything.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what was the craziest thing that you guys did while recording that you put in there and were like, this probably, like for you, this probably shouldn't work in here, but it does, and we're gonna have to recreate that live. What was that thing that you felt really pushed that boundary?
Ooh. Well, there's a lot of moments like that. There are a lot of moments like that. The days in Dresden picks up from where we left, and then we go into the crazy territory, right? The interesting thing is one of the things I really like as of our approach, and Vidi actually personally, is that he's not a lyrics guy and thank you very much guy. He's an instrument. You can see and hear in the EP that he contributes also like an almost like a vocal synthesizer, that he has a lot of laughing, rich sounds, horror sounds, screams. There's like this drinking scene in the Nagasaki Kisses and the jazz section, and all the people just going berserk and whatnot. In terms of synths, of course, there's the in Tropical Limbo, which is actually released in a couple of hours today. There's the 8-bit stuff that I took a lot of old Super Nintendo sounds. Uh, what else? Game Boy Advance sounds. Some of the instruments from all the Pokemon like Ruby, Sapphire, even like from Pokemon what? The Gold and Crystal and what I grew up with those.
Yeah,
And just to go beyond and what you said about how we are growing as musicians, I really appreciate that. And the interesting thing about that is just like the vocals, we don't write music and send it for vocals. We think of it as an instrument, so that there's not only lyric writing and melody writing, but the sound color. And he is so versatile in the amount of color range and spectrum he can cover, that allows us to think beyond the regular norm of a genre. And same goes for the keyboards. Let's say we have demos, and when I start to put sounds on it, I don't think like, okay, I have mellotrons, Hammonds, leads, strings, pianos, and that's it. Like, or maybe electric pianos, like the usual keyboard player for a band kind of mentality.
yeah,
And I have to mention the biggest inspiration for that exploration of sound comes from me, from my mentor, of course, Jordan Brulis from Dream Theater. That listening to his contribution in the band, also his personal work, made me throughout the years think that, you know what, progressive metal keyboards does not have to be constrained by the idea of progressive metal keyboards.
right.
It can be anything. So all of these crazy leads in Schnittke, actually, there's a lot of sound design, there's creaking doors, there's wind rustling in Tropical Limbo, there's whales flying in the background, there's seashore. I mean, there's just so much. I wish I could show you the entire session of like the recordings of how many tracks we laid down, how many tracks I've laid down from all kinds of different things. But for me personally, I approached it like each track as if they were like a trailer for a genre of movie. So let's say if 3 Days in Dresden would be like a trailer for like an action thriller, like Jason Bourne kind of movie. and then Eske Schnittke piece will be more like a horror piece that is more creepy, dark in the goth sense, like the horror sense. Tropical Limbo, of course, all out fun, entertaining 8-bit video game, almost like us as a progressive metal visiting like this 8-bit island and trying to find out what's going on there. And our drummer Grega is also a classically trained percussion player, so we have a lot of marimba featured in that. And it's like we went to the 8-bit island and found the local marimba guy, and then we did like a collaboration kind of scene of a movie. Villa Lobos, romance, Wong Kar-wai, anamorphic lenses, warm colors, film, analog film stock kind of feeling. And Nagasaki Kisses, almost like a Hollywood production. This whole epic journey of going up and down in the beginning, and then in the middle, we go to a bar, to a jazz section, and people are drinking, having a lot of fun, and then going back to the outside world to deal with more like whatever the story would entail. And of course, at the end of the day, we have the resolution of the song, which is the epic guitar solo. And right before it, there's the breaking point in the story, right? The movie come like some stuff happens, and then there's this really intimate moment of this choirs. Maybe we thought the main character was dying, and then we had all these angels and children and whatnot, and then suddenly, no, he's alive. And then this epic ending of this movie and whatnot. Exactly. So it's a very visual thing,
Yeah.
and seeing and keeping that visual as of the feeling completely contributed to the craziness of the sounds we made, because at least for me, I treat it like a soundtrack for five movies that was never made.
That's a really awesome way, like, and really unique way to to approach songwriting, looking at each as their own entity. And it's like for you, the way you describe it is so visual,
Hmm.
the colors and the soundscapes. And like for a listener, you I get that. Right.
Hmm.
Listening to it, you listen to it, and it is a very visual listen. It's one of those things like I obviously I'm a headphone guy. I want to, you know, turn the lights off,
Yeah,
throw my
yeah.
headphones on, turn it up, and just go on the journey.
Exactly.
You know,
Because the most important thing is the story. We serve the story in each track we make. There's a story going on, and we want you to be a part of that story, to for you to be in the story rather than thinking like, oh, there's some great guitar playing or this playing or there's this some. No, there's something going on, and we serve the story that we want to share with the audience, and everything that we make serves that purpose, because we are musicians, of course, but we are storytellers.
yeah.
The story part encapsulates what people find attachments, because they might find personal things in their own story that we might be touching on. So it's all about the storytelling, and we want to invite the listener not only to a musical experience, but into a story where music is actually the medium that we take, because we are musicians, to tell that story.
Yeah, that's something that I've always enjoyed with music. Same, the same thing for me is I've always looked at each song as a story, and I prefer um I prefer full album concepts, right? I think every album, if it's done right, the entire album is a piece of art, and to get the full story, like with the EP, you're saying five it's like five different movies or five different trailers, and I'm looking at it like it's all in the same by the same director and by the same person,
Yes.
right? It has a common theme through it. So we're at Fast and Furious 5, or whatever it is, listening to it, which is is cool because it does touch on obviously, right? You guys introduced a lot of elements, the marimba and the 8-bit and the keys and strings and the vocals. Like I think for a listener, I hope for a listener that they have the ability to sit down and appreciate it the way you wrote it, you know.
I think it's a really demanding album. If you think about the attention span that people have nowadays, it's getting shorter and shorter,
Yeah.
and we kind of went against it. So it was important for us to write something that we would like to listen to. And I'm hoping, we'll meet more people like you on our path that are also looking for that specific moment that you can shut off the lights, take the clock away, take the Facebook away, and just like, 10 years ago, just focus on one thing at the same time.
I think a lot of people are really searching for that now, because we do have my life is so busy. It starts 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's not like I don't wake up and have coffee and then start my day. Like I wake up and go right to work, and sometimes last night I was in bed at like 7 o'clock and I'm like, yes, and other times I don't get to bed until 11 or 12 or 1 in the morning, and it just makes for a really long day. So when I can take the time to listen to an album from start to finish with no distractions, phone on do not disturb, no computer up, no video games, nothing. It's nice, and I feel like a lot of people are really searching for that anymore, right? They want to get away from the distractions, so
Yeah.
they what do? They take a vacation with their family, or they go out, spend some time. A lot of people, at least what I see, a lot of people have been doing a lot of hiking so they can get out there and
Yeah.
no distractions. Well, shit, if they're hunting for it and you have the ability to do that at home, like music, to me, music is the way to go.
Hmm. We're the same, I think.
We're
So
the same.
yeah,
We're the same. And I completely agree with what Vidi said about the attention span. Philosophically, I mean, practically, yes, we live in the world of the short attention span and dopamine addiction. And to a certain extent, we have to work with it, and we do. But philosophically, we reject that you need to look at three things at the same time while listening to music and talking to somebody and watching a movie.
right.
Rather, to actually sit down and be in the moment, that listen every single detail. There's no album listening while you're looking at social media or changing album contexts or pictures or suddenly a cat video, then suddenly a music video, suddenly this and that, but to rather, hey, be in one place, one time, and enjoy this moment right now.
Yeah.
That's that's what we would like to see in the world, and we are trying to make a contribution to it. That it's not your like disposable napkins, use it and toss it kind of thing, but rather to discover again and again. Like every time you catch a new detail, or it creates maybe half an hour of just me time that you shut off the distractions and you stay in one context and one story. We truly believe in that, and we would like to see more of that in the world. And this is from art, our contribution to that philosophy, basically.
I think a lot of people are really missing that,
Absolutely.
because it's the hustle and bustle of being an adult. And
Hmm.
I feel the older we get, the busier we get, so the less time we actually think we should take for ourselves. Through my 30s, no time for myself. I was always, you know, doing something. And now I'm still always doing something, and I'm learning to really uh take that time and enjoy. Like, I took my first vacation with my wife without the kids this year, and it was
Where did you go?
we did the Headbangers boat. We went on a cruise
Nice.
to
Nice.
uh to Dominican Republic, and to not have to worry about my phone or
Right.
work. All I could think is like, holy shit, like this is what this is like. It was 5 days of like nothing but time with my wife and friends and music. It's the
Wonderful.
best thing ever.
Yeah. In person, real life.
Yeah.
Remember, we used to have MSN Messenger and we would go offline or
Mhm.
ICQ or something. You were not supposed to be online 24 hours a day. There was a set time you would log in, and that was your availability that said Eren or Tom or Vidi is available now to talk. And then we would say good night, log off, and then there would be no instant messaging, and we would be in the real world, in the offline world.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't have that anymore, and I think that's part of the issue with like teenagers and preteens, right? Like in those times, you had your friends at home and you had your friends at school, and they weren't the
Hmm.
same friends. So if you had an issue at school, you were able to come home and decompress and get away from it. And now
Yeah.
that being constantly connected, if someone's being a bully or being an asshole or whatever they're doing,
It's
they
every
don't, yeah, there's no chance to get away and decompress and go, cool, fuck him. I don't need to talk to him right now. It's like everyone's like, oh my God, did you know? Blah 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 blah. And it's this constant noise that
Hmm.
we need a break from.
Yeah.
What do you guys do to like take your break from creating and just enjoy being in the moment?
That's a hard question. I love the cinema. I go to the cinema. I shut off everything, and sometimes I'll watch two movies in a row, just very late at night, in a cinema theater. That that's good for me. It sounds funny, but I also love sitting in the bus to take a trip on the bus. If I don't have a lot of time, I'll just go on a very long bus in my city and I will just like go do the full round and I go back. And we have a beach here, a very beautiful beach. So I'll try to take some walks along the beach, um, stuff like that. And music, of course.
I like how that is the afterthought. Like, and music, but the cinema, I get. What do you do on the bus? You just like people watch?
I put music in my ears and I people watch.
Do you make up stories for the people? You're like, oh, that's Joe. He's going to work today, and on his way to work, he's gonna stop
I
and he's gonna help four people or whatever.
I actually just did it today in a coffee place before the interview. I just sat down, I had to catch some sun and yeah, some people have like they don't know, but they have like really crazy lives.
Yes.
They don't know that. And some of them have superpowers as well.
I love the superpower thing. I never thought to do that. Like,
Try that the next bus ride.
yeah, my wife and I, we make up stories about people, and they're always good stories. It's never like, they're well, sometimes they're out murdering people because they have that look about them.
Hmm.
You're like, man, I bet he killed like 27 people in his like heyday in like a 12-hour span.
And now he's
Yeah.
just a barista.
Yeah, I was just hanging out. What's up? What about you, Aaron?
Uh, well, I do listen to a lot of different genres and kinds of music, which I really like. Enjoy finding new things and new ideas and completely out of the metal scene, by the way. Some like one of the great examples would be this label called ECM, Edition of Contemporary Music, that is I don't want to call them a jazz label because they're so much more than jazz. I would say it's like a European jazz, but it's very different ideas and whatnot. I keep finding a lot of different interesting ideas. I read a lot, from books to articles to papers about new technologies or whatnot. I like drinking, not to on an alcoholism level, of course, but what I do is like pour a glass of your favorite beverage or drink, whatever. Put a record on, sometimes not even a record, just in silence. I have a small notebook next to me and I drink and think. I reflect. Because the interesting thing is that, for example, in comparison to what you said, I have to have my morning coffee. The world can wait 30 minutes for me to be the better version of myself, because if I don't have that coffee, my capacity of productivity and communication may or may not be at the level that is required from me. But for that, I have to take care of myself first.
Yep.
The world can wait at least a little bit of time. It's not going to break or make anything. But if this breaks, then nothing matters. If this is not there, if this is not there, then you can be CEO of a top 50 like S&P company. But if your mind breaks, then the whole world breaks and everything that depends on you break. So it is crucial, essential for, I see it part of my work. I have to take care of the person who is executing the work. If it doesn't allow me to take care of myself, then I won't be as productive. I won't be as at peace with what I'm doing. And a lot of this self-reflection time, I see a part of my work. Because when I read, I have different ideas for stories or how storytelling is. When I read about technology, I find out what's the latest capability of what we can potentially produce. When I'm just going back and thinking about the past and some of the decisions we all make, to reflect and see like, oh, maybe saying this or that or behaving in this way or maybe handling the situation in certain ways would have been better. But the problem with the constantly connected world is that your mind from the waking to sleep is always focused on a third party thing. We need as humans the time to let our brains be. The brain needs to do like almost like a hard drive defragging back in the day. Like the brain needs to just do its thing, not looking at the screen, not listening to something, but just to, okay, you want to think? Go ahead. And you find out that it jumps like a monkey from here and here and here, this idea that, and then sometimes it's on a branch and it's just not letting it go. And you're like, oh, he has problem with there. Like maybe this affected me more than I allowed myself even to think about it. So that's very important. Then that's a release from your system that maybe it's time to let that go. But if you're looking at the screen, the brain cannot do the maintenance because it's processing information. If you're listening to something, it's processing information. But if you have a morning coffee or like an evening glass of like whiskey or beer or your favorite, let's say, and you tell your brain, the time is yours, the stage is yours. The information is about you now. It's not about what I'm seeing, hearing, or sensing. It's about putting the information in the right places in my mind. Otherwise, the only time you can do this is sleeping and your subconscious goes haywire. And then in the morning, you're like, why did I even see those dreams? Well, did you take time for your brain to do its maintenance? The world does not allow us to do this, but we still have the choice to say, you can wait. I need my 30 minutes coffee. At least that's my personal take. So that I do
Yeah.
that a lot, basically.
That's good though, because you're right. We don't, in our constant Constant grind, obviously, right? Like I do it every day, and it's
Yeah.
I take my Sunday as my day where I'm like, no
Mhm.
work, right? I don't want to work,
Mhm.
so I at least get that one day a week. But
Mhm.
I used to give myself that morning.
Mhm.
I had 2 cups of coffee, then my day started. And
Mhm.
what I found is that caffeine, I needed a I needed a break from caffeine. I took a year off of like no caffeine. There was no coffee, no pop, nothing. If it had
Mhm.
caffeine in it, I stayed as far away from it as possible. And I
Mhm.
found in that year that my brain got clear and I had
Yeah.
more energy. I was like, man, this is super cool.
You're right.
And now I'm back to drinking caffeine. I had a nice huge iced coffee this morning. I'm like, all right, let's do this. So what like Vidi, when you go to the cinema, what
Yeah.
kind of mu movie do you like seek out? Do you want action movies or funny movies or sentimental or
I really like crime films. I'm a big, big, big fans of everything that has mafia in it. I really love it. Um,
that's who's going to break legs for those promoters that aren't paying on tour?
exactly.
Oh yeah.
Ex- Um, so I like these kind of films, but there are not so much of them at the moment. I'm really looking forward to the new Peaky Blinders film, the ending of the ending of the story, Peaky Blinders. Um, so if it has some like historical elements, I really enjoy it. Um, if I just saw the new Nosferatu, the remake, which I really enjoyed.
A lot of people said that was really good.
Really good. Really, really good. I came with no expectations and I enjoyed it completely. I even traveled once. One of my travels was to Berlin to watch it, the old one from 1922, with the full orchestra playing the
The
sound,
score.
the score, while you have the silent film on gigantic
Hey,
um,
that's our
screen.
project. That's Berkeley Silent Film Orchestra.
Really?
Yeah, we did that in Boston.
So I watched it in Berlin. It was amazing. So
That's amazing.
I have a lot of with the old films. I just watched it's called Der Book. I just watched it's a horror film from 1937. It was shot in Poland and it's a Jewish folklore exorcist exorcism story. It came out, it's in Yiddish, it's in German Jewish, the entire thing, which I don't really speak it, but it's so familiar because my grandmother used to speak it. So it's really cool for me, traditionally, stuff like that. But the movie is amazing.
What a
So
crazy time to make that movie too. Like
yeah,
in the history of the world, you know?
yeah,
Like,
37, 37 in Poland.
yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
It's on YouTube with English subtitles. If you like very old horror films, just
Yeah.
look for Der Book.
Okay.
Derdybuk. Very cool.
I'm gonna have to hunt that out and cast it to like my TV so I can watch it.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's 2 hours long. It's a big production. Very, very nice. So I like the old stuff. I like American 70s cinema, the entire paranoia kind of a thing that's going on. I really enjoy these movies. Um, and if the hero is a really bad guy, I really enjoyed it as well. I just watched The Sopranos again, crying at the end again. Um, yeah, that's my chosen films.
That's pretty awesome. Well, so Aaron, what about you? Like, do you have a specific style of film that you like to go after?
There's okay. My time, okay, we need to divide it into two things. The actual like real life movies, and then I love animations.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna go animations first. In the movie world, my all-time favorite director is Wong Kar-wai from Hong Kong, and usually tells romance and not like comedy romance, but more about pure feelings and just communicating feelings beyond the characters with the colors, with the shots and whatnot. But one of his most favorite and most known movies is called In the Mood for Love. And I love that very much. And also, there's the Grandmaster who's about the unification back in China about the southern and the northern kung fu styles and whatnot. But it's all about the thinking in life philosophy and whatnot. The movie I have most watched in my life again and again is the Matrix trilogy. I probably know every single word that is being spoken in the entirety of the trilogy, and it had and still has a huge impact on me. In the animation side, I like series a lot. My all-time favorite series is anime called Ghost in the Shell, Kokoku Kidotai. And this is a very highly philosophical and political animation. And it covers stories from like it's in the near future, like 2030s, 40s, basically. And it's a world where you are able to now replace most of your body with uh cybernetic parts, but you still look like humans. But also they replace 99% of the brain with like external memory and storage and processing power, but there's still a part of the organic material of the brain itself. But it explores these idea of if somebody could hack your memories and install your memories, did you really have a family in the first place? Or what does it mean? Or if you could transfer your mind to a different body, would would my perception of you would be different? Even if you did speak in the same way, even if you had the same ideas, how would I perceive you? Or if everybody is, let's say, cybernetic, and if you could hack people's eyes, you could be invisible. And there's a lot of political drama going around it because there's the governmental. It takes place in Japan, and there's a lot of political implications of using this technology in the way that can be exploited for benefit.
Yeah.
There's a second season of it, which is there's a lot of refugees coming to Japan with cybernetics installed. And there's this whole refugee situation going on. So when you think of anime, you don't usually think about these kind of topics,
Right.
but it does exist, and it's absolutely fascinating. In Netflix, they have two seasons new of it, and now they go to like 1984 mentality, like how that is being facilitated by technology, and people think they want that, but they don't. They're really living in their own matrix. But if you could control people in a way that they control themselves for you in the first place, so you don't even need to do that, and so on and so forth. So all of these
Challenging
detailed,
reality.
yeah, challenging reality and our own reality as a human being, as of stories and as of perception and whatnot, these kind of things. And on the other side, of course, human to human connection and romance and beautiful colors and Wong Kar-wai and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny. You guys are like, as far as like film go, you're completely different people,
Yeah.
which is super cool. Like that you guys, I think it helps with the creation of the music, man. Um, that's the beauty of a band is how all of these different parts come together and create this thing that has never been anywhere else before and will never be anywhere else again. It's like catching that each song is like that those couple of minutes in time that that you collectively have like molded and this is our thing.
I
So
really like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's super cool to see. I think a lot of
thank
people
you.
don't realize what it takes for artists to get together and create something, as a collective, whether it's two or three or four or five people. Um, there's a there's a lot of I don't want to say tension, but there's that collective creativity. And when you're in something and you're writing a song, there someone's going to have an idea and someone else is not going to think that it necessarily fits that song right,
Yeah,
but it might fit another song really well. So to be able to I'm going to say put egos aside and listen and create together is it's it's the most pure thing that I can think of, because there's no ego. It's let's create this together. Cool. I'm going to listen to your ideas. I want you to listen to my ideas. Hell yeah. We're on the same plane. We're we're going after something, and that is just one of my favorite things in the world. No
yeah.
ego.
I think it's a matter of trust. I think there could be tension, but as long as you have trust with each other, this tension can be deconstructed into a very creative flow. Um, yeah,
I think you're right. Trust and
In our
respect.
yeah.
in our process, we are all in the band strong, opinionated people, not from ego, but we truly believe in what we are saying.
Yeah.
And whenever we have those moments, I like to think of it like two or three, or however many you want, giant space entities like a galaxy or like a planet clashing into each other. And then there comes out a beautiful nebula. There's like a beautiful scenery. And at the end of it, it's not about any of us, it's about all of us. And I really, really enjoy that process. We truly push not only each other's limits, but our own limits, but what comes out in terms of creative colors from that is absolutely fascinating to me. And I truly enjoy every single moment of it with my fellow band members.
Hell yeah. That is so fucking awesome.
Fucking awesome.
So fucking awesome. It's fucking amazing.
Fucking
Yes.
amazing, man.
I love you guys. You're so cool.
We're
Likewise.
having a lot of fun with you, man.
So are you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. All right. Aaron Vidi, dude, I greatly appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to come and sit down and talk to me about of course the EP that's coming out February 22nd. For all you people listening, go pick it up, please. Um, and just sitting here and allowing me the time to get to know you guys. I've had a lot of fun, and it's again, from a fan of music's perspective, it's really fucking awesome what you guys have created and how you go about creating that together, but so far apart.
I had a lot of fun, and it's really nice talking about more things, to get to know each other,
Yeah.
hear others' thoughts. So that was a really refreshing interview. So thank you, Tom, for supporting us,
Thank you very much. Yeah.
taking the time, and we're really happy that you're enjoying the new record.
Hell yeah. Um, okay. Now, I'm the only thing I'm gonna ask you guys is please come tour the States so I can experience this live.
Where are you located in the US, by the way?
I am in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh,
Right. I
So,
took the mission to visit the US in the next year and a half.
okay.
I really, 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 I've never been. I've been in weird places, but never in the US.
Well,
So
the US is a
really
weird
tells me I
place.
have to. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, we are fucking weird. Um, as I'm
There's
sure Aaron
yeah.
can attest.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been to most of US, and I can definitely say there's weird stuff, there's great stuff, there's terrifying stuff, there's random stuff. It's a continent, man.
Yeah,
It's not like a country. It's like 51 countries in their own respect. And each of them have a story to tell and learn from. And what what's really interesting is that you see some American movies and whatnot, and you think like these people are acting great. They're not. That's the way they are.
yeah,
You think that it's just happening in the movies, but when you see like people walking on the street, sitting in the New York underground, I don't know, doing their things in Los Angeles or you name it, or just I've never been to where you are, but it's just vastly different worlds that you, if you don't go, you never find out that this is actually happening in real life. And it
right.
gives you a lot of perspective.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's one of the reasons that I like to people watch because I don't care how good someone can write a script or direct a movie. It doesn't compare to what happens in real life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it's there are, if you want a horror story, just read. I mean, I feel like we have the most amount of serial killers in the entire world right here in the US. You know, we do stupid shit like mass shootings, and then flip side, you have people that go the exact opposite way. It's just what a weird mixture of people, but I'm so thankful to be able to be a part of it because I feel like we are a melting pot from everywhere in the world.
Hmm.
Yeah. It amplifies who you are because it's truly the land of freedom, I would say, in the sense that you can just be who you are. And that brings out the true sense of who people are in the deepest sense, that you don't have to adjust yourself to a certain kind of norm or thing. You can just be who you are. But when we take that to the extreme, we see the boundaries of human nature that we don't usually get to experience because of societal implications. But when you give true freedom to people to be exactly who they want to be, you actually start to flip the coin around to see what human nature could have been also in
Yeah.
the good side and in the bad side. So in my view, it's a perfect understanding and just view of the true human nature from the very worst to the very best, basically.
Yeah, that is exactly it, right? Like you can see how good and how bad people are, and it's, sitting back and watching, it's funny to see, especially with all this political stuff.
Hmm.
Um, I'll just say I am of the mind that our the politicians that we have in power, whether we voted them in or they lost or whatever, they are not good for us as a people. And us as a people forget that it's okay for you to think differently to me than me. Can we have a conversation about it?
Yes.
Right? If we can have a conversation about it, like an intelligent conversation about it, and not get to name calling and pointing fingers.
Respectful conversation. Just
Absolutely.
respect.
We could learn a lot, and I think a lot of the walls that we've built to keep people of different mindsets out, it would it would open up our eyes and go, you know what? I I can see why that concept works, or why you think that way. But but right, just be respectful.
Yeah.
Come from a place of curiosity, not like I know everything.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Oh man, this is too good. Uh, all right, guys. Again, I greatly appreciate the both of you. I've really had a lot of fun sitting here chatting with you. Um,
Likewise.
Vidi, you come to the US. If you want to come to Louisville, KY, dude, I got a place you can crash.
Nice,
I'll
man.
take you around. We'll go check out some of the cities in the surrounding area. You'll have a lot of fun.
Cool. I'm taking this invitation. If I'm around, I'm letting you know.
Okay, please do. I'm
We'll talk about Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah, like we could sit here and go through my record collection and
Nice.
Ooh,
you would
nice.
be amazed. Everything from Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff to Cannibal Corpse and Slayer, like it is
Amazing.
the whole gamut. All right, guys, go have yourself a great day. All right.
You too. All the
Thank
Um,
you.
best. Thank
have
you
a
so
great
much.
night.
Thanks. See you guys.
Bye bye.